safety. We truly appreciate your support, and we request you to encourage others to subscribe to Cignal TV, as we are an outfit that does not fully rely on advertising. It is on subscription, and the more of you out there, the longer and stronger we become. So nagpapakita lang po ako ng gratitude sa inyong suporta. And for those of you who continue to watch us in other portals or manner, you can continue to watch us via facebook.com/onenewsph. And you can also watch our replays on YouTube, One News PH. And of course, we replay at 5 p.m. every afternoon. And even on weekends, we also do have our replays. So, as I said, it's November 4, 2021. Let's begin the day with our daily starter. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Okay, ito pong daily starter is lovingly dedicated to all the parents out there, to all the teachers, professors, principals, and particularly university officials and officials of the Commission on Higher Education, particularly the first first sentence that says, everyone should be quick to listen. Medyo bilis-bilisan po ninyo ang pakikinig ninyo sa mga estudyante. Because today, here on Agenda, we will be focusing on a situation that many, university and college officials seem to have taken for granted, dismissed, or chose not to listen or attend to. I am referring to our beloved SEM break. Kami po, nung panahon namin nung college, we all had what we called a SEM break or a semester break. And apparently, it has become an issue for many college students now, particularly those who are freshmen and junior, who are complaining. Hindi lang po ito complaint. Okay? This is a serious situation that has resulted in protests, rallies, and even the posting of honesty boards in certain universities to express the frustration, desperation of students. In fact, in one case, it has been reported that one student committed suicide out of depression and burnout. Bakit po? Kasi during our time in college, medyo matagal-tagal na rin yon, dekada na ang binibilang, may SEM break, which usually lasted 3 weeks to 1 month. Many universities have a SEM break or a break just before Christmas, and then a summer break, etc. Aba, ngayon po ay 3 days na lang ang binibigay. And it has burned out students. So we will discuss that this morning. But before we go to that, I just want to repeat the daily starter for the day. Everyone should be quick to listen. Listen to our children more than to ourselves. Slow to speak. Huwag kayong sagot ng sagot. Listening for the intention of being able to give a reply. And slow to become angry. Nothing is ever achieved by anger except if it is righteous anger. And that reminder is from the book of James, okay, the brother of Jesus, okay? And now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. The front page of the Philippine Star's headline today, November 4, 2021, Metro Manila curfew lifted, but only for adults only. Lang yan, parang sine, no? Parang sex film eh. Metro Manila curfew lifted for adults only. Minors not allowed to go out. Mall hours now open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Okay. Napagkasunduan, it was agreed upon by the Metro Manila Mayor's Council that all the uniformed curfews will be scrapped and only curfew restrictions applying to minors will be maintained. So yan po was arrived at because the MMDA is trying to avoid Carmageddon or magkabuhol-buhol na naman ang traffic sa Metro Manila. Especially now that most people are trying to avoid riding public utility because they don't want to get infected by COVID-19. However, warning, heads up to everybody. Even before COVID-19 happened, we already know that during the pre-Christmas Christmas season holidays in the Philippines, particularly this month, the next 40 days, dadami po, tataas po ang nakawan. Marami pong mga break-in, akyat bahay, bukas kotse, etc. because of the desperation of our poor brothers and sisters. So, first of all, might I remind you, having gone through hell in the past 1 year and 8 months or so, may we ask that we all be more generous in giving to our poor, yung mga nasa kalsada, mga nasa lansangan, mga nasa squatters area. Second of all, please be more vigilant. Alagaan ng mga aso, buksan ng mga ilaw because criminality will surely rise after the curfew is removed. Okay, now to the header of the Philippine Star. Duterte considering Senate run according to Senator Bongo. In the words or quotation given, President Duterte allegedly, reportedly, according to Bongo, is considering running for senator in kung makakatulong sa bayan if it would help the country. Okay, it was earlier reported that Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi and his PDP laban sa factor has proposed Senate President has proposed that President Duterte should run for senator, become Senate President, and revamp the Senate that the President hates so much. Okay, going back to the front page. And we have that photo of a jeepney driver removing, tinatanggal na niya yung kanyang plastic shield sa kanyang jeepney. Shields down for PUV units because the government has finally approved the 70% capacity for PUV jeepneys, and the shields or barriers are no longer required. Okay, moving on. Yun po, daily COVID cases down to 1,591. Yan po yung last recent count that came from the Department of Health. But qualifier, okay, just as a note of caution, yan pong 1,591 cases does not account for the results or tests that were not submitted by 7 laboratories. So that number may be a little higher than has been recorded, but let's take the good where we can get it. 1591 na lang. And sadly, the number of deaths are still three digits, okay? 186 pa rin po ang namatay. 186 Filipinos died yesterday from COVID-19, bringing our total number to 43,586. Okay, and moving on. Public transport capacity now 70%. Okay, the IATF and the Department of Transport have agreed on a compromise solution that now allows all public utility vehicles to load 70% of their passenger capacity. So kung 10, 7 lang. Kung 20, 14. Okay, so yan na po. That is all intended or designed to help public utility owners to survive the raging prices of fuel. Okay. And you have a picture. Okay, basahin ko na lang. School officials of the Ricardo P. Cruz Elementary School in Taguig City show a prepared classroom yesterday, including an activity table with separators to be used for face-to-face classes. The school is still practicing practicing distance learning as it awaits instructions for limited in-person classes from the DepEd. Okay, so up to now, pinag-uusapan pa rin, panaginip pa rin ng mga ilang supling and students. Okay, hello Kitty! Okay. And we go further. Okay. 4 vaccine makers have applied for booster authorization in the Philippines. In line with the declaration of the World Health Organization that governments should implement a third or booster shot of the vaccine for COVID-19, the companies AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Sinovac, and Sputnik 5 or Sputnik V have all applied for a emergency use authorization, EUA, for the booster. Kasi po, lahat ng vaccine sa Pilipinas is being used on an emergency use authority from the FDA. So, this third series requires such approval and permission. Okay. And let's go further. Here we go. Rodi on Farmally Mess, I am not corrupt. Okay? The President, Rodrigo Duterte, continues his message, his rant, his discourse, his attack against the Philippine Senate, particularly Senators Gordon and Drilon, saying that he is not corrupt and he has not profited or benefited from the Farmally transaction and has turned the tables on Senator Gordon and Senator Drilon, who he suggested would have benefited from campaign contributions. Nako po, yan na sinasabi. Dapat dyan, mag-usap. Okay? Do not be quick to angry. Okay, and there you go. Ito po, Dolomite Beach closed until 2022. Wow! Yung mga gustong makapunta dun sa Dolomite Beach, magwawala at magtatanong, you're probably wondering why. Well, apparently the DENR has to finish many unfinished projects within the area, particularly referring to drainage facilities, etc. But the interesting part is, according to the news article, the Dolomite Beach will be closed until early 2022. Aside from the infrastructure requirements, they will be putting up solar powered comfort rooms. They will be setting up a fishing area near the Manila Yacht Club and the souvenir shops, etc. In other words, it seems that there is a plan, intention, not just to dump sand on a part of the Rojas Boulevard shore, but rather to build a new tourism destination under the DNR. Ano kaya sabi ng DOT dito? Yan po. Okay, so that's the good news, bad news. Pagagandahin ng Dolomite Beach, pero hindi kayo pwedeng pumasok until early 2022. Next. All-day supermarket. Yes, essentially, okay, breaking barriers for all-day IPO. The Philippines' fastest-growing supermarket chain, All-Day, debuted at the Philippine Stock Exchange with Villar Group Chairman and former Senate President Manny Villar and PSE President and CEO Ramon Monzon ringing the bell at the trading floor yesterday. Ayan po, no? Ayan na yung kanilang initial public offering. Kumbaga, magbebenta sila ng shares of stock for all-day supermarket at yun namang perang ibinayad for those shares will eventually turn into more capital for the Villar Group to invest probably on all-day expansions all over the country. Okay. And last but not the least, UP and for University of the Philippines and 14 other universities make the Asia list. Okay, yan pong yan ay yung sinasabing listahan ng mga universities in itong 2022. Okay, University of the Philippines, Ateneo, Santo Tomas, De La Salle, Ateneo de Davao, Mapua, Siliman, etc. 15 total of Philippine universities made it to the 2022 QS Asia University ranking. Kumbaga kinilala sila as recognized. Hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin pinakamagaling or higher, lower, but recognized universities in Asia. And that's it for our news from the Philippine Star. And now let's go to today's agenda. Medyo tayo po ay magi-interview ng mga estudyante or ng estudyante, okay? We have with us, okay, okay, sige. So as I mentioned earlier, okay, as I mentioned earlier, we want to tackle this issue about academic break. Kumbaga, pamamahinga ng estudyante sa gitna ng dalawang semester or school year or whatever. And it has become an issue. First, it caught national attention when students of St. Louis University protested regarding the matter and highlighted the fact that a student in one of the Baguio universities committed suicide as a result of burnout and depression. Okay? Now, nagprotest yung mga university students ng Baguio, and from what I understand, they actually won concession and recognition from the Baguio City Council. It became a real issue for Baguio, because not many of you may realize the city of Baguio is also a what we always call a university town. Kumbaga, maraming university sa Baguio City na pinupuntahan, or where many students of Northern Luzon go up to enroll and study in. Andiyan ang PMA, UP Baguio, St. Louis University, University of Baguio. Pasensya na po doon sa iba, no? Medyo matanda na ang Tito Cito, ang Kuya Cito, nakakalimutan ko. But you're welcome to refresh me. Anyway, so the protest caught national attention, but apparently it was not just a Baguio problem. I was even contacted by students in Metro Manila, and I was told that even in the great University of Ateneo in Katipunan, may nagtayo na. Some students have put up what they called an honesty board to tackle this issue of a need for academic break, because they have only been given 3 days. And the argument is, ay, okay na yan, wag nang bigyan ng sem break na mahaba kasi because they're all studying from home, etc. Let's now listen to the students. Let's bring in Mystica Rose Angelica Bucad, President, St. Louis University Supreme Student Council, and Kara Angan, President, Sanggunian, Ateneo de Manila University. Ladies, good morning to all of you. Welcome. I think Mystica will be joining us by a phone, while Kara is joining us live here on the program. Good morning. Unahin na kita, Mystica, kasi alam ko puyat na puyat ka, wala ka pang tulog, pero congratulations, because the report is that the studentry of Baguio won that precious victory. Mystica?
Yes po, hello, good morning. Am I audible po?
Yes, ma'am.
Ayun po. Yes po, we're proudly parang ina-announce na we were able to win the negotiation, I think, with the administration. I don't, siguro ayun po, parang syempre the Louisians won, pero we still have a lot of fights na kailangan din naming i-push pa para at least makapag-gradual resume na din tayo ng face-to-face classes, and ayun po, para din hindi na tayo umaabot sa mga ganitong klase ng panawagan. Ayun po.
Okay. Mystica Rose, ano ba nickname mo? Mystica o Rose?
Mystica na lang po.
Okay, Mystica, pakibigyan lang ng konting background yung mga viewers natin and listeners, and then I'll go to Kara. But first, Mystica, what started this? Anong pinagmulan nito? Bakit? Ano ba nangyari dyan sa Baguio?
So, ayun po, I'll give you the timeline, no? On,
Okay.
October 13, when we first forwarded our request letter for academic break. So, that time, wala pa pong mga incident reports about trigger warnings, suicide cases. And, ayun po, yung kumbaga pinaka-goal po nung letter namin is for the onslaught of Typhoon Maring, since October 12 po na nalanta ang Maring, and kinakailangan din syempre ng utmost consideration to the students na naapektuhan ng bagyo. So, ayun po. Actually, na-mention naman to ng dialogue, so I can reiterate din that the administration was able to provide din naman walang pasok po kami ng 14 and 15. So, siguro, that's for the request on our parang yun po yung naging tugon nila, hindi man directly, pero yun po yung naging tugon nila sa panawagan namin on Typhoon Maring. Pero
Okay.
ayun po, under the letter din kasi may mga different clauses. So isa po kasi talaga sa clause ng aming letter ay academic burden and academic exhaustion, since kumbaga ang dami na po naming grievances na nare-receive, na pagod na din talaga ang students. And kahit kami, personally, the student leaders were really tired and burnt out. And syempre, we can't keep on serving the student retired. So, ayun, kahit lahat po kami, even the faculty members, syempre, they are the ones providing us the kumbaga, the parang modules, ganyan, and sila mismo yung nagtuturo sa amin. So, syempre, alam namin yung pressure din na kinakaharap nila as of the moment. Oh, so, yun po.
Okay. Yeah.
So, that's
So,
October 13 po.
oh, and
So,
then,
October 15 parang nag-follow up naman po kami doon pa rin po sa academic break namin. And
mm,
then, sabi po is nailagay na daw po sa table ni VP ACADS, ganyan. So,
mm.
ayun, parang kumbaga, okay, considered it as
But
acknowledged na.
apparently, Mystica, kumalat ito dyan sa UP, sa Baguio, sa Baguio City, sa mga ibang universities. Kasi ano ba ang nagiging experience ng mga students? What's happening? Because the impression I get is yung word burnout or overworked. Wala ba? Kasi panahon ko, pasensya ka na, lolo mo na ako siguro, no?
Opo.
Panahon ko, ang sem break namin mahigit sa buwan Piyesta dito sa mga universities, gaano katagal ang sem break or academic break?
Siguro po if we're going to talk about the sem break, it's the difference of first semester sa second semester. Pero,
Hmm.
kumbaga hindi na po namin siya nako-consider na sem break kasi parang bakasyon na lang din, gano'n. So, pero parang same connotation din lang, pero hindi na sem break po hindi na sem break yung term namin, ganyan. So, it's different from academic break po. Academic break, yung pagpasok sa mismong, kumbaga, calendar ng for the semester na sana po kung kakayanin nga po parang every after exams na kahit 1 day or 2 days talaga na yung
Hmm.
genuine academic break na hindi din binubugbog na halimbawa, sige wala tayong pasok ng November 1 and 2 pero ang mga requirements naman ay November 3 lahat pasahan. So, ganun po. So, syempre, imbes na nakakapagpahinga,
Okay.
is nagko-comply pa din sa requirements and ayun po.
Okay, so kumbaga like November 1 and 2 walang pasok pero tinambakan naman kayo ng trabaho.
Opo.
Okay, let's go to Kara and Kara Angan. Kara, you're president of the Sanggunian of Ateneo de Manila University. I was told of a similar situation in Ateneo na usapan dyan, walang homework or walang work during weekends. Pero ang ginagawa raw ng ibang professor, they ghost on you. They disappear.
Well, there are some reports po of professors who are like that, pero because the teaching styles and yung course curriculum kumbaga ng iba't ibang subjects ay mag-iiba, so sometimes the professors give deadlines on weekends or immediately, no, after yung long weekends or weekends in general. So there is that type of context sa iba't ibang courses. So for example, like sobrang maiba yung experience, no, ng engineering, for example, or compared sa, let's say, other courses sa social sciences or sa humanities. So mag-iiba po talaga yung experiences lalo na sa academic load.
Okay, but here's the question. Kasi in UP, UP, in Baguio, bakit ako UP ng UP? Kasi tiga UP ako. In Baguio, St. Louis and other universities, they wanted an academic break because they're declaring burnout. Iba pa yung sa SEM break. Now, what's the situation in Ateneo? I mean, I have high regards for Ateneo University, and I would just presume that they know how to run things, but apparently many students don't have the same impression. Are you guys burning out or what's happening?
Mm-hmm. I guess I can say, no, na nakikiisa kami sa ating mga kasama, no, from Baguio, and it's yung issue kasi ng academic break or yung academic burnout, lalo na sa konteksto ng pandemya, no, is that hindi lang limitado ang call for academic break based on yung academic setup. Kumbaga, why students call for an academic break or academic ease is because of yung the all the different factors under the pandemic that make it difficult for students to complete requirements or show up to class. So for example, we were able to study around 4,000 students dito sa Ateneo kung how they're experiencing the online learning setup. So for example, yung students with disabilities namin, it's hard for them to study kasi for example, yung visually impaired or hard of hearing, mahirapan sa prolonged screen time exposure dahil sa online learning, or mahirap i-attend ng mga synchronous sessions sa Zoom. Or for example, we have a lot of students who had to become working students during the pandemic dahil nawala ng trabaho yung mga household or caregivers nila, or they significantly lost income. So it's different factors like this na nadamihan yung stress or nadamihan yung priorities or that's on the plate of a student that make it hard to complete requirements, lalo na sa isolated na yun, dahil sa pandemic na nasa bahay na tayo. So when we think about yung calls for this academic break or for academic burnout, it's because of all that compounded stress na naramdaman yung mga estudyante sa loob ng pandemya. So I think it's really a compounding effect of all these different factors.
Yeah, so from what you've said, the problem is not just a matter of too much homework or too much academic requirements, mga readings, mga term papers or whatever. It is the overall challenge of distance learning and the impact of COVID-19, not just on parents but on students. Kasi you mentioned something, Kara, that was not covered in the column I'm writing about this issue. I did not take into consideration na mahirap nga palang makikipagsabayan ka sa Zoom meeting na there are how many students normally in a Zoom meeting?
It will depend, no, but the typical class size po would be around 30 or around 25 to 30.
Nako, I was in a meeting kapon, 15 lang kami, hindi na kami magkaintindihan eh. So 25 to 30 students for one class. How many classes does a normal student or average student have to attend?
Mm-hmm. So dito sa Ateneo, semestral setup po kami. So we're taking around 8 to 9 classes. So around 21 units. Pero may mga overload kumbaga. So some students have a little bit more.
Okay, so what's happening is you have 8 to 9 classes on the average. You are going to attend per class with 25 to 30 students all in a Zoom meeting, and para yung di ba, parang hintayan yan eh. Parang marathon or parang relay race na hindi ka pwedeng gumalaw hanggang hindi naabot sa'yo yung baton or na-touch mo yung pad. So you're all waiting on each other. So it can really be aggravating for young people, especially if they have a pressing question they want to ask the professor. Okay, now, puntahan natin si Mystica. Mystica, are you there?
Yes po, still here po.
Okay. Yeah, hiya mo. Don't worry, Mystica, because I will make sure you get to talk. Medyo tinitimpla ko lang na maigi dahil
Okay
mahirap
po.
itong
Okay.
system natin. Parang yung sinasabi ni Kara,
Opo.
tatatlo lang tayo, hirap na ako eh. Okay,
Opo.
Mystica. So, Kara clarified that it's not just homework and not just term papers or research. It is yung Zoom synchronization, pati yung mga nawalang trabaho ang magulang, they also have to be working students. How about in Baguio? What is the situation of many students?
Actually, ano po, same sentiments din kami with what Ateneo is currently experiencing din. Yun din po yung mga factors, financial problems, family problem. So, ayun, siguro most of the people kasi disregard the fact na parang nakaupo lang naman sila, bakit sila napapagod?
Mm.
Parang sobrang dami pong factors na kumbaga
Mm.
underlying factors on that. Na dati kasi, kailangan din po siguro dating maintindihan na dati kasi kapag may problema kayo sa bahay, halimbawa magkaaway kayo ng nanay mo, or ang dami mong, kumbaga syempre, kung panganay ka pa na lagi kang mag-aalaga sa mga kapatid mo, meron kang mga um, responsibilities at home
Mm.
and problems, ganyan. Pag lumabas ka ng bahay nyo, punta ka ng school, at least maiiwan nyo yung work or kung ano mang problema sa bahay.
Mm.
Makakapag-focus, magkakaroon ng focus
Mm.
doon sa kung ano like sa klase. Meron din pong yung peers, the support ng peers sobrang importante din po kasi yun sa generation namin, no?
Mm.
It's important for us to vent all our angst and kung ano man pong nararamdaman natin kasi it's our one way of coping sa kung anong nangyayari sa amin. And ayun, I don't think it's right to invalidate or gaslight the students dahil lang hindi nila naranasan or hindi namin naranasan yung hirap nila. Parang ganun po. Sobrang masakit sa part namin din na paulit-ulit kaming nagpapaliwanag ng sarili namin. And sinusubukan din naman namin na magpaintindi pero at the end of the day, bakit parang kasalanan pa namin na ah, hindi parang kami pa yung mali, kami yung hindi nakakaintindi sa sitwasyon. When in fact, ah,
Oh,
ang
Mystica?
parang ay sige po.
Yeah, sorry Mystica, no.
Opo,
Itatanong ko
opo.
lang kasi I can already feel yung hinanakit nyo eh. Yung
Opo.
I can feel the pain, no. Now, is it because you tried to tell the adults, the authorities, what students are feeling and they were just dismissed or ignored? I'm not talking to about any particular university. This is a general situation I want to address. Did you bring this up dun sa mga iba-ibang authorities like you did now with the Baguio City
Opo.
Council?
Yes po. Ah, yes po. I believe we were able naman to express the sentiments of the students. Since ayun nga
Mhm.
po, representatives lang naman yun. Kumbaga representatives lang naman kami na iniharap doon, bringing the whole kumbaga studentry with us. Sa kanila din naman nanggaling kung ano din yung pinaglalaban namin. And it's one thing din kasi hindi lang naman po sa Metro Baguio, hindi lang naman sa St. Louis University nangyayari to. It's happening all over the Philippines who's
Mhm.
adopting sa distance learning. So, I feel like it's one thing that uh, kailangan nating i-call for the system. Kasi, ayun nga po, I mentioned din sa dialogue, no? We should redefine flexibility. Ano pa rin po ba ang definition natin ng flexible learning? Kasi possible na kahit anong gawing pagtumbling ng mga ah, kumbaga kahit anong gawing pagtumbling ng mga institution para makakapag-adapt sa kailangan ng studentry. The CHED being the governing body of the higher educational institutions should still do something and be flexible enough to adapt. Siguro po, add ko na din, sorry, ang dami ko atang ano, pero,
No, go ahead, go
opo,
ahead. This program, this episode is for you
opo,
students and for our children, our grandchildren. Oh.
yes po. Ayun, kasi parang, when kami ang first batch ng K-12, kami ang first batch ng distance learning. So I feel like it's valid for us to voice out our concerns din. One thing kasi, when they implemented K-12, yes po, may mga clamors, pero sige, nag-adjust kami. Kasi syempre, that's the system eh. When
Okay.
they implemented distance learning, same. We adjusted kasi that's the system. We really tried our best. Let's not discredit the efforts of every student facing distance learning na totoo namang pinagdadaanan talaga natin yung hirap. Pero
Mhm.
maybe it's time. Parang ito na po yung maging wake up call, hindi lang sa university namin, hindi lang sa
Okay.
buong Metro Baguio, kundi sa buong Pilipinas din siguro if we can reach them since through media
Mhm.
na parang maging wake up call sa atin na it is really happening. Not
Okay,
in and
Mystica.
we should consider ganun po.
Yeah, we'll go for a break, Mystica. Kara, we'll go for a break. When we return, Kara, I would like you to show us or tell us the situation here in Metro Manila or at least in Ateneo. What's happening, and maganda kasi yung mga points na sinabi nyo na earlier. You mentioned about synchronicity, about students having to take on work because the parents have lost their jobs, and then Mystica did a wonderful explanation about you are the batch of K to 12. So kumbaga sa elementary, high school pa lang bugbog na kayo with this new K to 12 system, and then pumasok pa yung distance learning. So you are you are the lab rats of Philippine education, and you are really getting beaten up. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and joining us this morning are student leaders from the St. Louis University Student Council, Mystica Rose Angelica Bucad, President, and President of the Sanggunian at Ateneo de Manila University, Kara Angan. Kara, you were already giving us some pictures of what students are experiencing. What is this thing I heard about an honesty board, and some university professors are also chiming in or supporting this call for academic break? What's the total picture, if you would?
Mhm. Well, katulad ng mga iba't ibang universities no in the country, may mga freedom walls or honesty boards sa social media at iba't ibang communication channels for students to raise complaints or to talk about ano yung experiences nila ngayon, as well as an avenue for some professors, especially through yung university channels or through the departments to raise concerns and to talk about yung experience ng online learning. I think in terms of yung buong picture no ng the state of online learning, it really is a united call, not just in Metro Manila but also with our fellow students in Baguio, in Visayas, in Mindanao. This the experience of studying during a pandemic really is shared. Kaya a lot of different universities are still calling for a lot of different university student councils or student groups are calling then for the respective academic breaks or academic ease in their different communities, because the problems are shared sa ayun, some are experiencing lalo na yung overload of requirements or just general yung mental and physical health decline, or yung different responsibilities at home that make it really difficult to study or to study in our current system. So it really is a shared problem between all students. Kaya maraming mga national calls for face-to-face classes, national calls for academic ease or academic break. And it's a united student movement in really for the whole Philippines, for lalo na ngayong pandemya.
Okay, you have repeated the word academic is or yung sabi nga ninyong dalawa ni Mystica na academic break. Hindi pala ito sem break because you still have sem break. What all of this seems to be pointing out is something changed. Clearly, you can't go to school. Mystica, you can just join us anytime you want, okay?
Okay po, sige po.
You can't go to school, so you are not in an environment that is dedicated purely for your learning. So mahirap. If you stay at home, you are so distracted, no concentration, maraming utos si nanay, may utos si tatay, or you are the yaya of the family habang nagbo-boxing yung nanay o tatay, etc. So, but what changed here? Yung bang, what year are you in, Kara?
I'm currently second year.
Second year. What about you, Mystica?
Fourth year po.
Okay. Napansin ba ninyo, well, probably Mystica would be in a better position to answer, yung bang mga professors, mga teachers, nagbago? Mas dumami ba ang trabaho? Have they been, parang taskmasters?
Actually po, no, since ayun po, meron din naman po kaming mga nakausap na faculty members. Yes, it's true na uh, yung burden na nararamdaman din ng students is equally doon din sa burden ng teachers. Bakit po? Before, all they need is to read the textbook and then internalize kung ano man yung kailangan nilang maituro on the subject matter. Ngayon, they have to prepare slides. They have to prepare the modules to be sent for the CBL students din po, yung mga hindi naka-online. They have to prepare, everything na kailangan nilang ma-provide sa students. Na kailangan din nilang gawin lahat yung best nila para ma-assure na kahit papano may natututunan yung students, which is that's the very goal naman po ng education system natin, di ba? Na kaya din
Okay.
tayo nag-aaral is to create professionals that are capable and competitive enough para makasabay sa ating business industry or sa industry mismo na kinabibilangan ng certain course, ganun po.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, para lang magkaroon kayo ng pag-iintindi or for your better appreciation, I have been teaching at the Development Academy of the Philippines. From time to time, I'm invited to preach in some churches, and from time to time, I also give lectures and training seminars for corporations. The work involved in preparing PowerPoints for one day is equivalent to about 3 to 4 days. Kung ang professor ay magagawa ng module at gagawa ng slides and PowerPoint presentation for 3 days in a week, talagang masisiraan ang ulo yung mga professor. But the question, Mystica, is hindi ba naiisip ng mga professors na, well, kung ganito kahirap yung sitwasyon, we should reduce the workload?
There
Kara,
are
you can join in if you want to.
there are instructors po talaga who are very lenient and considerate. Pero kasi, meron din silang, kumbaga, meron silang sinusunod na, ano nga po, di ba? It's in the system kasi.
Curriculum.
So, kung ano yung, kung anong binaba ng CHED, yun ang susundin ng HEIs. Kung anong binaba ng kung ano ang binaba sa HEIs, yun ang kailangang sundin ng department heads, deans, na ibababa sa faculty. And then the faculty will then, kumbaga, sila na yun na nahimay na, sila na bahala maglatag sa students.
So, in
yun,
other words, dahil sinusunod yung curriculum based on a teaching modality that was face to face but has now become online, yung trabaho mas dumadami or yung learning process mas humihirap kasi talagang isa-isa kayong mga estudyante na kailangan i-address ng professor. Kara, doon sa Zoom, mga Zoom meets ninyo, Kara? Kara? Okay, I
Sorry,
think,
I think
okay.
I lagged a bit. Sorry.
Yeah, you
Ano po
did.
yung question?
So, ang nangyayari, you were nodding your head kanina nung pinag-uusapan yung workload, yung because the question is what changed? The only thing I can see is the teaching model used to be face to face, but the minute it went online and distance learning, humirap na ang mundo ng lahat.
Mhm. I think definitely yung to share din points sa mga sinabi on the experience of faculty. It's also something that we also want to highlight no sa when we talk about yung quality of online learning or yung state of online learning in the Philippines. We understand also the calls from faculty kasi aside from the workload we also have to think about yung health benefits kung if they cover yung COVID yung COVID expenses or other types of illnesses, yung just wages, at yung salary wages if ever. So that's also so that's also a perspective na lahat tayo talagang naapekto ng online learning or distance learning. I think when it comes to what changed no is because we really we really need the call, or that's why a lot of sectors no and a lot of students are calling for back to face classes as soon as possible because of all the different problems that all the different sectors experience. So whether it's like teachers having a hard having the difficulty of adjusting yung teaching styles nila ng physical to online, or lalo na yung mga science and engineering students or yung mga STEM students na wala na sa lab, walang lab classes or walang laboratories, but they need certain types of skills para they can take the board or they can proceed to further studies. So there are those contexts that a lot of our science and engineering students are facing, and as well as the professors no that are struggling right now with the shift. So it really is resources, lack of resources, especially all in the different homes. Yung security in the family or at the house. These are things that change when we went online from a face-to-face.
I need to ask this question, ladies, no, Mystica and Kara. Were you ever part of a research or study conducted either by the Commission on Higher Education or by university officials to determine or to at least figure out what is the state or a situation of students as a result of online learning? Kara, you first.
Mm-hmm. Well, in Ateneo, we have the newest school in the college is yung School of Education and Learning Design. So, there are researches being conducted lalo na sa mga college students or yung different age students from the different units sa state ng online learning at yung experience. There are also studies, I think, being done by yung SEAP, yung Association of Catholic Education institutions in the Philippines, as well as other researches being done on the state of online learning. Kasi we really, I think it's a push from more or less all the schools and universities na makakabalik on campus as soon as possible and as safely as possible.
Mystica, how about for Baguio City or Metro Baguio? Kasi parang ang impression ko is kung hindi pa kayo nagwala, sorry no, yun lang yung term ko diyan. Kung hindi pa kayo nagwala, baka hindi pa kayo pinakinggan, okay? But were the students in Baguio ever subjected to a survey, research on how online learning has affected them?
Yes po. Being in the council for 2 years since the pandemic started, I can attest to that. We have been submitting alongside with NUSB Cordillera and other organizations in Baguio. Na nagsasubmit po kami ng mga proposals to the CHED for review para and yun, may mga survey and statistics naman that can prove that. And ayun,
Wait,
sadly,
wait, wait a minute, Mystica.
yes po.
Kayo ang gumagawa ng survey and research?
Not necessary po na research pero like position paper.
Okay, pero what I'm asking is, meron na bang gumawa ng pag-aaral para malaman yung
Ah,
kalagayan ng mga estudyante?
as per my knowledge po, no, wala pa po. Pero as per my knowledge po yun.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're already in the student council there. You've been a student for
Opo.
4 years. So it is not possible na hindi ka ma-survey kung may survey.
True. Yes po. Opo.
Oh, okay. Mystica, may tanong dito. Kailan ilalabas daw ng school yung schedule ng agreed academic break?
November 9, the council and the administration will have a dialogue. So dito po ilalatag namin kung bakit kailangang sabay ang academic break sa academic is. Dahil ang academic break ay kumbaga short term ano lang po natin yan, short term solution sa pinaka problema. So that's to address the concerns, the mental health of the students. Pero anong gagawin natin after academic break? That's the question of many. It's the academic ease. Academic is lessening the burden. And yun nga po, hopefully, kung mababawasan ng CHED yung number of days na kailangang i-accomplish ng universities, then baka po pwede nilang gawin. Or pwede nilang bawasan yung mga number of requirements per subject since meron po talaga, lalo na po yung mga lower years, no?
Okay.
So na, may mga minor subjects pa.
So para pala kayong taxi, ano? Kailangan may boundary.
Actually po.
No, no. I'm putting it in words so our viewers can understand why you guys are frustrated. You are required by law and by the CHED to accomplish, to log down so many hours of study, and so this is being done online. Pero yung mga estudyante are burned out already.
Yes po.
Okay. Anyway, Kara, last word with you.
Ayun. I think I just wanted to say na talagang we stand in solidarity sa iba't ibang student movements, lalo nga are all around the Philippines na that call for the respective academic breaks or academic ease. Yung academic break, like what Mystica said, no, it shouldn't just stop there kasi hindi pa na-address yung root ng problems kung bakit nag-call yung mga students for academic break. It has to come hand in hand sa academic ease, so lessening ng requirements or better pacing ng requirements within the school, but also with yung continued a robust na COVID-19 response, so that students and faculty and administrators can get back on campus as soon as possible, as safely as possible. I think that's what I wanted to highlight, na hindi lang in a vacuum yung academic setup or yung calls for academic break or academic ease. It really comes from all the different factors of living under a pandemic, studying under a pandemic, that make it difficult for us to move forward. So we really need a whole of society approach when it comes to addressing these problems that students face today. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, Mystica Rose, Bucad, and Kara Angan, I just want to let you know, and please send this message out to all the students there. One News PH is your group that backs you up. Si Gretchen Ho, gagawa na ng study on the youth and elections. And many of our anchors, bagamat marami sa amin puti na ang buhok, we are modern parents who are listening to the children, listening to the students. Please feel free to let us know anytime, and we will be here for you. Thank you for being a
Sir,
brave.
excuse. Baka
Yes,
po
Mystica.
I can have some ano din last words kasi medyo ayun,
Sorry,
opo. Kumbaga
Mystica.
siyempre opo,
Oh,
okey lang po.
mabilis lang, kasi nine
Yes po.
o'clock na, babayad ako ng penalty.
Okay lang po. Address ko lang the issue kasi parang para maintindihan lang din po. So tama naman po na yung sinabi ni Kara. So hindi ko na i-reiterate yung um, importance ng academic is with academic break. Pero people should understand, the older generations should understand na hindi lahat ng students ay afford na mag-gap year para magpahinga. So, isa din po kasi yun sa mga issue na parang binabato sa amin na, wag na lang kayong mag-enroll. May choice naman kayo, wag mag-enroll sa school na yan eh. So, ayun po, hindi na po namin afford na mag-gap year since K to 12 already, kumbaga kinuha na nila yung 2 taon namin. So, kailangan na din naming mag-payback sa mga nagpapaaral sa amin, payback to the community. So, I feel like it's one thing na we should really, really look into it without compromising the quality education and the uh, quality of the students na
Okay.
napoproduce ng ating universities. Thank you po. Thank you so much
Thank
po.
you very much, Mystica, for being very clear. And Kara, God bless both of you. Please take care and keep in touch. We are here for you.
Maraming
Okay.
salamat.
And okay, now we leave you with our blessing. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Romans 15:13. God bless all of you. Have a great day.